Lil Durk, a prominent figure in the contemporary hip-hop scene, has been thrust into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons after being arrested on federal murder charges for higher charges. As the legal battle surrounding Lil Durk heats up, new footage has surfaced that purports to show the rapper and his alleged hitman aboard a private jet. This video is currently making the rounds online and has added a surprising twist to an already complex case. Lil Durk faces federal charges that could result in a life sentence. This artist is accused of masterminding a murder-for-hire plot targeting rival rapper Quando Rondo. The affidavit filed in federal court by FBI agent Sarah Corcoran Lil Durk claimed that Quando Rondo had ties to the events that transpired 2 years after King Von's tragic death in 2020. The affidavit also included unnamed witness testimony and records demonstrating flight tickets purchased using credit cards linked to Lil Durk and his only family, which OTF collected. The affidavit painted a chilling picture of premeditated revenge, with the rapper allegedly mobilizing resources within. Lil Durk reportedly attempted to escape the United States before his arrest. Federal prosecutors described his intricate efforts to outmaneuver investigators, claiming he booked multiple flights to confuse authorities. 2 commercial one-way tickets to Dubai and Switzerland were purchased but never used. A third attempt involved a private jet bound for Italy, but FBI agents detained him at Miami's Opaka Executive Airport just an hour before the jet was scheduled to take off. OTF was tasked with planning and carrying out the scheme. Authorities say the 2022 plot was a direct response to the pain and loss Durk experienced following King Von's death, a tragedy that continues to be a significant chapter in his life and career. Bradford Cohen, an attorney who has represented Kodak Black, questioned the veracity of these claims, arguing that the flights may have been booked as precautionary measures to check for warrants rather than a genuine attempt to flee. Cohen further argued that fleeing to Switzerland or Italy, both of which have strong extradition agreements with the U.S., would not be a logical choice for someone attempting to evade prosecution. The drama went beyond Lil Durk himself on October 24th, when 5 men connected to OTF were arrested in. These 5 men, identified as Kevin London Grant, 28, known as Cuz or Vonnie, Andrew Dantrell Wilson, 33, known as D, Keith Jones, 33, known as Flacca, David Brian Lindsay, 33, known as Brown, and ASA Houston, 36, known as Boogie, were arrested in Chicago in connection with the alleged murder-for-hire plot. The charges in the indictment are detailed in a 4-count federal grand jury indictment, and Jones is also facing an additional charge for possessing a machine gun. Although they made their initial court appearances in Chicago, they are expected to be arraigned in Los Angeles, despite their alleged roles in the plot. Despite their attempts to evade arrest, they proved to be futile. Chaos during their arrest added to the case's sensationalism. If Lil Durk had managed to escape, his actions would have had serious legal repercussions. Under U.S. law, anyone who eludes prosecution is considered a fugitive, a designation that complicates their legal status. One immediate consequence would have been extradition. Countries like Switzerland and Italy have strong extradition treaties with the U.S., meaning that Lil Durk could have been swiftly returned to face charges. Additionally, fleeing would have nullified the statute of limitations for the crime, allowing authorities to pursue charges indefinitely. Perhaps the most damaging outcome would have been extradition. Fleeing could have resulted in harsher sentencing because judges often interpret such actions as an admission of guilt or lack of remorse, which reduces the likelihood of leniency during sentencing. In this case, Lil Durk's reported attempts to flee may already be viewed as damaging evidence regardless of their intent prior to his arrest. Fans have pointed to the eerie foresight displayed in his 2022 song Federal Nightmares, which has gained a lot of popularity after his indictment. The song's chorus, with its haunting repetition, "Delete my iCloud if I think they're really on me when the trial comes. It ain't your phone, it be your." Just weeks before his arrest, Lil Durk announced a significant milestone. His criminal record was expunged on September 22nd. The rapper took to X, formerly Twitter, to share his joy over the expungement of his record. Federal Nightmares is a song that has sparked debate about whether Durk's art mirrors his life too closely and whether his music unintentionally foreshadowed his downfall. If your homie told fans that it's no point in getting a lawyer if your homie told, Durk's journey through the criminal justice system has been lengthy and full of obstacles. His legal troubles began in 2011 when he served 3 months for a weapons charge, and in 2013, he was arrested again for unlawful use of a weapon by a felon, which resulted in an 18-month probation sentence. These experiences shaped his music and public persona as an artist striving to rise above his past. He wrote, "I'm grateful that my background has been cleared of all cases and that I'm no longer a felon." Marked a turning point that reflected his desire to move past his troubled past, but the timing of his indictment for the alleged murder for a hire scheme has clouded these efforts, giving the impression that his second chance was brief. Meanwhile, the case against Lil Durk is further complicated by allegations of witness intimidation in the affidavit, which states that witnesses involved in the investigation and their families have been threatened. Federal prosecutors decided to keep the identities of these witnesses confidential, citing serious safety concerns. Such allegations imply an attempt to obstruct justice, which could result in additional charges against the witness. As Lil Durk and his associates await trial, the legal road ahead is daunting. The evidence presented in the affidavit, which includes financial records, flight bookings, and witness testimony, presents a strong case for federal prosecutors. The trial will take place in Chicago, where Lil Durk and his hitmen are accused of planning a murder-for-hire plot. Bank is at the center of a case involving allegations of interstate criminal conspiracy, firearm violations, and the tragic death of an innocent victim, all of which are serious consequences. Banks and 5 alleged co-conspirators, Cav London, Grant Deandra, Dantrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and ASA Houston, face a number of charges, including conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, possession of a machine gun, and furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. Prosecutors, armed with copious amounts of evidence, assert that Banks used his position as the leader of the rap collective Only the Family OTF to coordinate the violent retaliation that has now landed him in court. The indictment and accompanying FBI affidavit describe how the plot was executed. According to the prosecution, Banks offered a bounty on TV Quando Rondo, promising financial rewards and music opportunities through OTF to those who agreed to participate. The plan was started in August 2022 when OTF associates discovered that Quando Rondo was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles. Grant Wilson, Lindsay Houston Jones, and another unnamed person, known as co-conspirator 2, traveled from Chicago to California on flights paid for with an OTF credit card. Grant allegedly rented a hotel room in Los Angeles for. In order to hide their identities during the operation, the group bought cars and ski masks. They used 2 vehicles, a white BMW and a white Infiniti with a fake license plate, to follow Quando Rondo across Los Angeles. On August 19, 2022, the conspirators followed Rondo to a gas station close to the Beverly Center, where 3 gunmen got out of the Infiniti and started shooting at his vehicle. Instead of hitting their target, they killed LP Abley, a family member who was standing nearby. 18 shell casings were found at the scene, and surveillance footage showed the gunmen leaving the area in. Prosecutors claimed that Wilson facilitated payments to Jones and Lindsay for their involvement in the shooting. Banks' involvement as the alleged mastermind of the plot forms the crux of the case. Court documents describe him as the leader of OTF, an organization that, despite being publicly positioned as a music collective, allegedly operates as a criminal organization. The Infiniti, the BMW thought to have been used to scout the area, left shortly before the shooting. Later that day, the defendants regrouped at a hamburger restaurant in Los Angeles to discuss payment for the attack. Flights were then scheduled for the group to return to Chicago again using an OTF-linked credit card. Evidence linking Banks to the plot includes financial records demonstrating that flights and hotel reservations for the conspirators were paid for with OTF funds, text messages from Banks warning his associates not to use names associated with him when booking flights, surveillance footage, and witness statements placing Banks in California at the time of the murder in October 2024, and search warrants executed in Chicago by federal agents that resulted in the arrest of Grant Wilson, Lindsay Jones, and Houston Banks. The FBI OTF claims that associates engage in violence, including murder, under Banks' orders to maintain status and control within the group. The government's case is based on a substantial body of evidence, including financial transactions, the use of OTF credit cards to pay for flights, hotels, and other logistics that ties the defendants to the plot, surveillance footage, and videos that capture the conspirators. It was found that Banks had booked 3 international flights: a private jet to Italy, a one-way ticket to Dubai, and a one-way ticket to Switzerland. Prosecutors contend that this was a calculated attempt to flee jurisdiction, while his defense team maintains that the bookings were precautionary measures to check for active warrants. Trailing Quando Rondo's car across Los Angeles and escaping the shooting scene, text messages between Banks and his associates show that he coordinated with Banks, allegedly giving them advice on how to avoid detection. Several witnesses have confirmed details of the conspiracy, but their identities have been withheld for safety reasons. If found guilty, Banks and his co-defendants face life in prison for Banks. This case is not just a legal battle, but also a personal and professional one. Reckoning, who is known for his tenacity and ability to work through personal hardships in his music, recently celebrated having his criminal record expunged, a milestone he called a second chance at life. But the weight of these charges threatens to overshadow that narrative. The trial will also test the longevity of Banks' public persona, as his lyrics frequently reflect the realities of his upbringing, blurring the lines between art and lived experience. Songs like Federal Nightmares, which have lyrics that eerily mirror his current legal troubles, have sparked debate about whether he foresaw his predicament or unintentionally admitted to his action. This trial raises further questions about the intersection of criminality and fame loyalty in the hip-hop industry. Darker side to its operations, the case also highlights the difficulties faced by artists like Banks as they navigate the pressures of their past while establishing a public career for both fans and critics. The trial is a crucial moment that will determine whether Banks can continue to be a prominent figure in rap or if the accusations against him will define his legacy. Meanwhile, the plot is developing as rumors of a possible betrayal within Lil Durk's inner circle surface. Fans believe that an OTF member, possibly someone they have trusted for a long time, has turned informant and given crucial evidence to federal authorities. The recent indictment of Chicago rapper Lil Durk and his hitmen has captivated fans and the hip-hop community alike, not only for its severity, but also for the alleged betrayal lurking within his circle. The revelation that an informant believed to be a trusted member of Lil Durk's only family, OTF Collective, cooperated with federal authorities for years has added a layer of intrigue to the already high-profile case. This was the catalyst for the increased surveillance on Durk that ultimately led to his arrest during his attempted flight. Ironically, Durk's loyalty to Champion may have been the very thing that has unraveled his defense against Lil Durk and his hitmen. Though fans were taken aback by the accusations of treachery, Lil Durk himself seemed to foresee trouble. His music has long alluded to themes of distrust and betrayal, and his recent actions further underscore his wariness before his arrest. Rumored to be OTF Jam, the group reportedly gathered incriminating evidence against Lil Durk directly linking him to a murder-for-hire plot targeting fellow rapper Quando Rondo, whose real name is Tiquan Terrell Bauman. These facts have generated intense discussions within the hip-hop community. 50 Cent, a rapper who has experienced navigating dangerous entourages during his career, recently shared advice he gave to Lil Durk about his crew in an October 29th interview with The Breakfast Club. 50 Cent recounted their collaboration on the theme song for Power Book 4 Force, set in Chicago. "Yo, this is them. Just watch him," 50 Cent said, referring to the people around Durk. His decision to make these arrangements suggests he may have suspected someone close to him was working with authorities. Found his home location in spite of his attempts to conceal it.
Said that to Durk. What was his response to you?
So you know what? See, somebody came to my house. How do you know exactly what I address? On my address.
50 Cent playfully added, "Where were you on Thursday at 3 o'clock if you got pulled over and you're not in jail? Why aren't you in jail?" In reference to Durk's predicament and his own previous struggles with entourages. His remarks highlight the dangers of putting your trust in the wrong people in situations with such high stakes. Although the indictment documents do not specifically name the informant, there is a lot of conjecture that OTF Jam, a longtime OTF member who served 12 years in prison for attempting to kill someone, was released in 20,122. Reports indicate that Jam started wearing a wire and cooperating shortly after his release. With federal officials, according to reports, Jam supplied information regarding Lil Durk's suspected illicit activities, including financial arrangements and plans. Jam disclosed how co-conspirators moving from Chicago to California utilized OTF credit cards to schedule flights and set up logistics. Durk's communication telling his colleagues not to book flights under identifiable names and track movements is also cited in the indictment. Jam gave information on how OTF Associates monitors Quando Rondo's activities in Los Angeles, including overt acts. According to reports, Jam's involvement included important steps like buying conceals the purchase of firearms, including fully automatic weapons, and the leasing of automobiles. Building a solid case against Lil Durk and his suspected co-conspirators was made possible in large part by this material. Jam's alleged betrayal of Al has rocked the hip-hop industry. Social media community conversations and interviews with prominent people have brought attention to the difficulties of survival and loyalty in such a setting. Chicago rapper King Yell said he overheard Jam accuse Lil Durk of killing Quando, Rondo's cousin El Po, in retribution for King Juan's passing.
Somebody named OTF Jam, they said they did call him a rat. Basically, he said, "Okay, I'm a rat. Yeah, watch this. That's all this information that I'm a rat this, I'm gonna tell this, I'm gonna tell that."
In a video that was posted on X on October 28th, Trench News and DJ Academics discussed how Jam's cooperation started after Lil Durk disregarded Jam's family's requests for legal assistance. Trench explained the delicate dynamics of loyalty in these situations, saying that if you commit a crime, you have to feed the killer's man, and you have to feed them all. His commentary clarifies how financial or emotional grievances can cause divisions within an organization in the midst of these revelations. A rediscovered 2023 interview with OTF Jam provides insight on his friendship with Lil Durk before the fallout, where he spoke with DJ. While Jerry Jam did not address his cooperation with authorities in the interview, his reflections highlight the complex personal dynamics that frequently entwine with criminal accusations. Jam also reflected on the early days of their friendship that were brought back before the fame and the money, saying that Durk's music motivated him during his 12-year prison sentence. Lil Durk founded OTF in 2010, and the band quickly rose to fame in Chicago's drill music scene. Initially signed to French Montana's Coke Boys label, OTF ultimately became independent and gained a reputation for its gritty street music. Inspired Music, prosecutors now characterized OTF as a hybrid organization that conflated music with suspected criminal conduct. They assert that the group functioned as a gang and a rap collective, using violence and other unlawful activities to stay influential. The issue of Lil Durk is not only about his legal fate as a P.O. pole, it is also about betrayal of loyalty and the delicate power dynamics in agencies such as OTF. The accusations made against Jam demonstrate how internal dynamics may destroy even the strongest of friendships. As the trial progresses, it will surely represent a turning point for Lil Durk and the hip-hop community, and for the time being, the rapper's destiny. What lies next for Durk and his hitmen is uncertain, with the specter of treachery looming big over his legacy. With the most recent superseding indictment filed by federal prosecutors, Lil Durk's legal troubles have significantly worsened. He is now charged with conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire that results in death, as well as carrying and discharging firearms, including a machine gun, in furtherance of a violent crime. If found guilty, he could receive a life sentence. Durk is now the primary defendant in the case, which already includes 5 other defendants, according to the latest indictment. London Cavaliers Grant Deandra Wilson Keith Thantrell. Jones David. The seriousness of these charges, according to Brian Lindsay and ASA Houston, raises the stakes as Durk's trial date, which is scheduled for January 7, 2025, draws near. Following his arrest, rumors on social media sites like TikTok added even more sensationalism to the case. Some posts suggested that Lil Durk might be put in the electric chair, which alarmed his fans greatly but were swiftly refuted. The state of California, where the charges are lodged, prohibits the death penalty. The speculation highlights the increased public interest in. Without the death penalty, Durk may receive a life sentence if found guilty in court. Lil Durk has entered not guilty pleas to all of the allegations, and his legal team is led by a well-known lawyer, Drew Fining, who has extensive experience defending high-profile clients like former President Donald Trump, NBA youngsters, and Cardi B, is getting ready for an aggressive defense. However, the prosecution has expressed concerns about Durk's potential to escape after trial court filings showed that he had booked 3 separate one-way international flights to Dubai, Switzerland, and Italy on the day of his arrest, suggesting a deliberate effort to avoid justice. Prosecutors have asked that Durk stay in federal detention pending his trial due to these charges. His defense team will have another chance to argue for his release prior to the trial at a detention hearing on December 2. Durk's public image and reputation have suffered immediately as a result of the legal issues. Days before his arrest, he was given an honorary key to the community, but the village of Broadview revoked it. Additionally, the village ended its collaboration with Durk's Local Heroes Foundation, a nonprofit organization that supports community service and youth initiatives. Progress. In the meantime, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has been under fire for the $150,000 donation that Durk's company, The Voice, made to his political committee in 2023. Some have demanded that the money be returned, while Broadview Mayor Katrina Thompson justified the decision by saying that our public partners must reflect the uncompromising standards demanded by our residents. Johnson defended the contribution by highlighting Durk's efforts to promote social concerns and the presumption of innocence.
You're asking me if I submit a judgment on a black man before a full trial has actually come to fruition. I hope you do understand why it is not my position to determine the outcome.
This development is especially disappointing for fans who have viewed Durk's music as a reflection of his journey toward redemption. His hit song, All My Life, which contains lyrics about sitting with politicians and striving to change his image, marked a turning point in his career. However, the current charges run the risk of undoing much of that progress. Durk's arrest has overshadowed the release of his upcoming album, Deep Thoughts, which was scheduled for November 22nd. One of the pillars of Durk's public persona has been his charitable endeavors, especially through the Local Heroes Foundation. Events promoting financial literacy helped fund youth initiatives and worked with local authorities to open doors in underprivileged areas. The rapper's new socially conscious side was revealed by the foundation's partnerships and projects, which included events attended by Chicago officials like former Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx. However, these achievements were in danger of being overshadowed by the arrest and the fallout that followed. Broadview officials' decision to cut off T.I. from the foundation is indicative of the mounting doubt about Durk's promises in the wake of the accusations. The outcome of Lil Durk's trial in January will now determine his future. If found guilty, he might live out the rest of his days in. Even if he is exonerated, repairing his reputation would be a monumental task. Prison brought an abrupt halt to a career that has inspired Chicago's drill music movement and the global hip-hop industry. The rapper is currently in federal custody awaiting his court date. His story of talent, tenacity, and controversy has reached a critical point, leaving fans and the hip-hop community to wonder what lies ahead for Lil Durk and his troubled legacy. The canceled partnership's delayed album and public scrutiny have already caused significant damage, and it will take more than just time to rebuild trust from fans and collaborators. Click on the videos that are now displayed on your screen to view more content like this.